Gator don't play no shit. You feel me?
Is a matter of belief, but we are certain that Satanism exists.
Welcome to That Other Horror Podcast. So many podcasts out there try to be the one and the only. We know we're not that good. We just try to be the other one. I remembered to do it this week. I forgot last week. That was a very glaring omission when I was doing the editing. I forgot to do the outro as well. But this week I remembered, and I am one of your hosts, Canadian Boy Ryan, and with me as always are your hosts, Clint. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing great. And your host, Nicole.
Hello, guys.
Hello. How are you tonight? Oh, you're
I'm
good?
doing good.
You're good. And Clint, I also forgot to point out your name last week. I can't read it. Not full screen. I don't know why I picked this fucking font. There we go. Clint D'Amour.
Yes.
Which I'm assuming is in relation to tonight's movie.
100%.
Who the fuck is named D'Amour in this?
The detective, Harry D'Amour.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, damn.
Investigator guy, yeah.
All right. And, of course, the detective in the movie that we're referring to is tonight's movie, which was a choice of Clint's, and we'll get into why he picked it a little later. That movie, of course, being 1995's Lord of Illusions.
Something is watching. Something is listening. Something is coming.
How would you like to see the world the way it really is?
What's going on here?
Detective Harry D'Amour is walking a path.
I want you to help me. Will you take the job, Mr. D'Amour?
Where do I sign up?
Between what can be seen.
People are dying here. I want to know why. I've heard a name. Somebody they talk about in whispers. Who? Nix.
And what must be feared.
Nix is dead and buried. What the hell is wrong with you people?
Haven't you seen enough to know that doesn't matter?
Now.
I don't want him getting in the way. The ball was waited too long to have the homecoming spoiled.
Every step he takes.
The drone, the dark side. You don't like that.
Not much.
It's your destiny. Accept it.
Brings him closer to the truth.
He could get into people's heads, make them see things. Terrible things.
See, that's his best trick. No illusions, just the truth.
If Nix is back from the dead, then he is some kind of a god.
In a world where magic is real, death is the ultimate illusion.
I was born to murder the world. Are you ready for my wisdom?
It's not real. Stop looking at me!
Next! You want to come with me, D'Amour? I've got so much power to give you. All you have to do is beg.
Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Before we start talking about the movie, It's been a hot minute since we recorded. It feels like it's been a while. What you guys been up to?
A little bit. Well, I've been trying to stem my anxiety over my my upcoming appearance as a Q&A moderator at a movie premiere. Working on questions for that and how I'm going to open it up, just so it feels fun and light and I don't appear too awkward, although I'm going to point out my awkwardness. That's part of my plan, which is always a good play. Good plan. Point out your flaws. That's what you should do all the time. Yes. Work has been work. I'd say it's been a little bit more stressful than normal lately. But part of that's probably my mindset. But customers just be customer in. You know what I mean? And I managed to watch a couple of movies. Based on some of the things you guys said recently, I decided that I too would like to see what Demi Moore looks like naked lately. So I went ahead and watched The Substance. I'm just going to say that I enjoyed her performance. I thought all the performances in that were great. I did not 100% get it. I don't know if I was supposed to. I was looking for more in this than what I think I was supposed to be looking for. With that, I would say probably I wanted to find meaning in all of the bright, vivid colors they were using. And I'm sure there is, but I just wasn't picking up on it well enough to really like lock in with this movie. You know what I mean? Like they had the yellow raincoat, which a lot of people online say has something to do, with just the fact that they open up with the egg and how that thing replicates itself. But I don't know. Something in my brain tells me there's a little bit more to it than that. We had like the red bathroom that to me looked an awful lot like the bathroom scene out of The Shining. You know what I mean? We had the hallway that had the carpet that looked an awful lot like, the Overlook Hotel carpet. We had all these oranges and blues and I was like, this clearly means something, but I just wasn't picking up on it.
Sometimes, Clint, a hallway is a hallway is a hallway.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right about the Shining references. Even some of the camera shots. There's the one shot where Demi Moore is banging against a door and the camera is purposely underneath her. That is a shot for shot of Jack in the freezer in The Shining. Like this movie had a hard on for The Shining.
Yeah. Yeah, I really believe
Dang,
that.
Nicole, I think we might have oversold the movie a bit too much.
I think we might have because I didn't catch, like Ryan said, sometimes a hallway is just a hallway, and that's how I looked at it. I didn't try to read anything into the colors or anything. I just thought,
just along for the ride.
I was just along for the ride. And to see Dennis Quaid eating shrimp,
Oh dear God.
That was so gross. I know it was supposed to be. It was like, they got that part exactly right.
Well, that's too bad, Clint. I'm sorry that we sold it up so high for you, but hopefully you enjoyed it at least a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't mind it at all. And I did really appreciate some of the like very in your face messaging about like a woman's worth when her looks start to fail, which was really what this movie was about. It's like how much they're viable, how much they're sought after or respected or whatever. Like in this case, it's a very extreme case of just being swept aside.
Basically how much of a piece of shit Hollywood is.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, I wouldn't say that that's the only place in the world where things like that happen. But I mean, it's just the most like in your face place where it happens. And I did appreciate that. I sympathized with her character quite a bit, and I really kind of understood what she was trying to do. I would have to say some of my most favorite scenes in the movie was when she just flat out got fucking pissed off about how her duplicate was taking advantage of her time. Respect the balance. So I did go back and have a rewatch just for fun of Bloody Summer Camp, just because that's a fun movie, and I'm getting ready to see these folks again over the weekend, so I really wanted to hit that up and just sit back and have a good time where I didn't really have to think about what was going on. So that was cool. And that's about it. That's what I did.
Cool. Nicole, what do you got for us?
It's been busy. This past weekend, my brother got married, and the wedding was amazing. It was beautiful. It was fun. I can't believe that 48 hours ago I was in a conga line. I am still exhausted. My left knee is still swollen, but I got up and danced, and we had a great time. I was one of the bridesmaids, so it was fun. It was. We had a really great time. And I now have a new sister-in-law, so officially. So it was good. That's about all that's been going on in my life is just the wedding. Movies I've watched. I went to the movies twice. Last Tuesday, I saw Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg and Topher Grace, and I have to say, I love Mark Wahlberg. I do, but Topher Grace stole this movie. He really did.
That has never been uttered before in the history of man.
He was hysterical. He really is funny. His comedic timing is just perfect for everything. Mark Wahlberg, I've never seen him as a villain like this in a very long time. He plays now the dad roles and, superhero roles, and he was terrifying. He was absolutely terrifying in this movie. It was very good. I would recommend seeing it. I also, last Monday, went to the Mystery Movie Night horror edition, and we saw The Companion with Sophie Thatcher. It was better than I ever expected. I didn't consider it horror. I considered it more of a very dark comedy because it was funny. It was really funny. It had a couple of twists in it in the middle, which I did not see coming. And
it makes sense though when you know the director.
Who was the director?
He was the guy. I can't remember his name now, but he did Barbarian.
That's right. Yes. Yes. And it was very good. It's just about this guy who has a what's the word I'm looking for? Not robot, but synthetic person, I guess.
He has a blow-up doll?
A synthetic person.
Is a sex doll?
Kind of, yeah. But she looks and seems human.
Oh,
like she's
okay.
completely. Yeah, and they're like every other movie like this. They're programmed not to hurt another human. Blah blah blah, and she ends up killing somebody.
I think I saw a trailer for this. It looked
was
really cool.
Really good. It was so funny. I love one of the actors in it was also in Smile 2. He played the drug dealer in Smile 2 who smashed his face with the barbell. He was in it, and he was really, really good, I think. And Sophie Thatcher, I think, is one of the newest up-and-coming actresses in horror. She's fantastic. She's beautiful. She's not like plastic Barbie doll. She's very real looking. She was in Heretic, and she was in Maxine and Boogeyman.
I still need to see Maxine.
Yes, you do. Maxine was amazing. But if you get a chance, even if go to the theater and see Companion, it was phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's about it for me for this week.
Well, I mean, I haven't been doing fuck all. I've been still on vacation, so I mean, I'm wearing pants for this. That's as exciting as my week's gotten.
And no one would
I
even
know.
know if you weren't.
I tell this for the listeners. They like to know if I'm wearing pants or not.
Okay.
But I have been watching a buttload of movies. Couple to point out. I've been on a Godzilla kick, trying to watch a bunch of Godzilla. As I mentioned in the last week's episode, The Guyver. I'm a big kaiju fan, and I love me the Big G. So I've been going back and watching all the classics. The only one I really want to point out is that there's this, I think it's the Showa era, I want to say. I'm bad for this. Each Godzilla bulk of movies is its own era. Maybe the Heisei era. Anyway, they're all great, except for once we get into the Son of Godzilla territory, and Godzilla inexplicably has a son named, depending on if you're watching the Japanese sub, his name is Manila, or if you're watching the dub, he's Minya. Most annoying fucking creation in the existence of mankind. This thing sounds like a cat in heat. And it just constantly wants Godzilla's attention, to the point where Godzilla has to quickly beat up the other monsters because he's got this whiny little bitch hanging on his tail wanting attention. I'm like, I want to see Godzilla fight the giant spider. I don't give two shits if you want to go for a ride on your dada's tail. And then you get into Godzilla's Revenge, where Minya can talk and he sounds like what's his name from the fucking what's that show? Not Andy Griffith, but the other guy.
Opie? Don Knotts.
Don Knotts. They decided to make Minya sound like Don Knotts. Like this kid's like, and it's a Kenny movie. The kid is just, the whole movie is centered around this kid having these dreams about going to Monster Island and meeting Minya. And the kid's like, why don't you stand up for yourself? And Minya, for some reason, sounds like I said, Don Knotts. He's like, Godzilla thinks I should learn how to fight my own battles. What the fuck is even happening right now?
What did you say?
Godzilla thinks I should fight my own battles, you know.
Oh, okay. I heard something else. Sorry. Go ahead.
But absolute trash. I fucking hate Minya. Just killed all the momentum that I had. And it's only 2 movies. Like, they smartened up and actually made Minya something a little more bearable in the future. I don't know. It was the 60s, man. Everybody was doing drugs. The other movie I just finished before we started recording and that I want to talk about was Wolfman. Now, this is the new one from 2025.
Okay. Yes.
I fucking loved this movie. How the fuck are people shitting on this?
I don't know.
Give Lee Winnell all the Universal monsters. I'm sorry. The Invisible Man fucking nailed it out of the park. Wolfman nails it out of the park. This movie is so creepy and such a eerie slow burn. Like this is The Fly if The Fly was about a wolf. I absolutely loved everything about it. Do some characters make some stupid decisions? Sure, but it's a fucking horror movie. Like if we're gonna shit on a movie because a character made a stupid decision, then what the fuck are we even doing here? I mean, to be fair, we can shit on it, but we're not going to disown the movie.
No. I didn't understand why people shitted on it either. I enjoyed it. I really did. I think the only thing I did not like was I didn't think there was any chemistry between the mom and dad. I did not. Their relation, I just didn't, and that was more of a casting thing, but as far as the actual movie, the story, the effects, I enjoyed it a lot.
I agree with you about the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
I had to go to Wikipedia to double check. I thought that they had been long separated.
Right.
And I thought that was the awkwardness between them. But I'm like, wow, she's willing to go on this trip with him for several days. And I looked it up and no, they're not broken up. She's just a workaholic. And
right.
Their marriage is strained, but they're still together. And I'm like, this But they were acting like they hadn't seen each other, and well, I guess if she's a workaholic, but
Yeah.
no, it doesn't work. I don't
Right.
care. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
I agree with you
didn't-
100%. It wasn't quite. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to touch on with it, you mentioned the special effects. I remember when that picture from Universal Horrors that was going around from the Universal Studios does their Halloween thing.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they were showing their Wolfman from this movie. I don't know if you guys remember that picture floating around. Everybody was shitting on it. And it is the wolf from this movie. But it turns out when you take the wolf from this movie and have it in bright daylight, it does look kind of janky. It's not properly lit. And in the movie, I found it worked really well. I thought the wolf design was really good.
I did too. They did not do a lot of traditional stuff with this. Like
Mm-hmm.
they did not do like it has to be a full moon and only silver bullets, and they didn't do any of that. But it was more of a realistic, gritty type, Wolfman as opposed to the original.
It was a breath of fresh air that I felt. Like these Universal monsters, I hate to say it, they're kind of boring nowadays. And I know there's a lot of people that love them, and I get that you love them. But when you're remaking something that's originally from the 40s, you have to realize that's not going to work anymore.
Right.
Like, and that's the biggest flaw with the Benicio del Toro one. I think it was from 2010. It tried to recapture too much of that old feeling, and it just kind of falls flat.
Right.
I love that Winall is taking these classic monsters and modernizing them.
Right. But honestly, I don't think there's no pleasing everybody because, like you said, Benicio del Toro's tried to get too much of the original classic in it. People didn't like it. But then you try to put a new spin on it like Leigh Whannell did, and people don't like it. Like, what are you going to do? It's...
Who are these people that are shitting on? I feel that the 2010 one really captured what the spirit of the old movies were. And I guarantee you these are the same people that are shitting on the Leigh Whannell one.
Yeah.
Like, there's just some people are not going to be happy unless you dig up, oh my God, what's his name? Lon Chaney Jr. and string him up like a fucking marionette and have him act as the Wolfman again.
Do the CGI like they did with Rook in Alien Romulus.
Yeah, there you go. That'll make everybody happy.
Oh yeah, because everyone loved
it.
That
happened with Remember when De Niro was Frankenstein? People shit all over that.
Well, to be fair, I don't like that movie either.
Well, the point is they try to do it
I know.
more realistically, like they did with this one, and I enjoyed Wolfman a lot. I did. I thought it was creepy, good jump scares. I figured out the twist, but not until like halfway through the movie. So that was good.
I figured it out right away, and I did not know it was supposed to be a twist. So
I think it was supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
With the whole tattoo scene,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was like
tattoo.
I was like right away. I was like, and so when I guess the reveal for the twist happened, I was like, yeah, okay.
No, it wasn't until they were like trying to get in the truck and whatnot that I figured it. Because that's how slow I am.
But no, really good. I do know that it is on our secret servers. So Clint, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend you give it a check.
I'd love to watch it again. I would.
There you go.
I may do that.
All right.
Maybe a watch along.
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've been watching a bunch of other stuff, but I'm going to talk about that. You can jump right into tonight's feature, which is, oh boy, I can't wait. Which is 1995's Lord of Illusions. Clint, this was your pick. Tell us a little bit about it. Why did you pick this one for us?
This is a movie that I saw. I did not see it when it came out. I saw it years later, probably around 2004. I was living in this house, so I hadn't been married very long. and I watched this movie, and I remembered liking it, and I knew that Clive Barker directed it. And of course, the only other exposure of his that I had, of course, was Hellraiser. And I don't know. I just felt like that this is one of those movies of his that kind of gets ignored a little bit, and I wanted to kind of just bring it into the spotlight for a minute. Have us all watch it, talk about it, see what we thought of it. And look at this again. I found it really strange. Clive Barker only directed 3 films.
Hmm.
He did Hellraiser, he did Nightbreed, and he did this. And he was like, I'm so disillusioned with Hollywood. I hate how they want to like impact my vision. Fuck this place. I'm out of here. And he has not directed anything since. And I don't know. Nicole might think that's a good thing, but
I never said that.
I can't tell. I'm trying to get a read on this.
Because I love Nightbreed. Nightbreed is one of my favorite movies. So I'm not gonna say anything negative about Clive.
Yeah, well, maybe I should have picked that, but this one is closer to me.
If it's any consolation, Clip, so, I'm happier that you picked this instead of Nightbreed.
Okay.
I am not.
Fantastic.
I would have preferred.
We have mixed reviews already. I love it. This was an unusual movie. What the hell? Somebody put it perfectly, where they said, this is like if you took The Exorcist and you mix it with Chinatown. It is a almost supernatural, like horror-driven movie, but it tries to pull like a detective story. You know what I mean with it. I don't really know how else to put that. And they did some really different things in this. Like, how most movies that attempt to be scary and give you a horrific story will have a lot of darkness, a lot of night scenes, things like that. This movie didn't do that, like hardly at all. Like the only real night scene that we got was his stakeout and when he went to see the palm reader. Everything else happened during the day. And that was like a conscious decision by Clive Barker to try to give you horror in the day. I don't know if that really worked well or came across. I mean, there was a couple things maybe, but I just found it interesting. This movie is, if nothing else, it's unique.
That's one way of putting it.
What about the opening scene? Tell me that wasn't cool.
I could smell the opening scene.
Yeah.
It smelled like cat piss and cigarettes for some reason.
I got church wine and BO. Like that's what I was thinking.
That's a better one because none of those people probably smoked. What do you think of the? Yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
I got a very Manson type. What was the name of that cult? Not Jim Jones, but the spaceship one. Everybody thought the spaceship was coming.
Oh,
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this.
Okay.
The opening scene wasn't bad. It was. I enjoyed the thing on his face. I enjoyed watching him get bound, as he put it. Most of the practical effects were pretty good. But again, it came off as like a cop drama with like a little bit of horror sprinkled in the background. If you had if I didn't know that Clive Barker directed it, I never would have guessed he did. I did
Yes,
not
this
see
seemed like
him
it
at
was out of his
all.
wheelhouse, eh?
Yeah, yeah, because he does more of the fantasy horror, you know, monsters, underground demons, and this I didn't see any of that in this at all.
To be fair, though, when there was the scene of the dude with the crushed velvet shirt and the snakeskin leather pants talking to the dude who had shaved his teeth down, I was like, okay, yeah, this is Clive Barker. It's like everything about this
That's
scene is Clive Barker.
I had to check IMDb to make sure that wasn't oh, what is his name? Simon Bamford from Hellraiser and from Nightbreed. I thought that was Simon Bamford. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say.
I mean, yeah, I'll throw my 2 cents in on this opening scene. Number one, I saw this apparently way too young because I saw this when it first came out, which means I was 12.
Okay.
And this movie, number one, went way over my head. I was not picking up on any of the adult themes in this movie. The other thing is apparently it implanted into my brain that what's his name? Daniel Bargan, the guy who plays Nix, the main villain.
Yes.
Every time I've seen Daniel Bargan in a movie as an adult, I'm like, why do I have this flash of Daniel Bargan being like this really dirty, gross person? And it's every time, like I see him in The Faculty, I see him in anything. I'm like, it's just like a flash of a memory. And it's the same with what's his name there, who plays. He's in it for like 2 minutes. He plays one of the other illusionists, Vincent Chiavelli. That's it.
Oh yeah,
With his shitty accent and everything. Every time I saw Vincent Chiavelli in a movie, I couldn't figure out why there was a flash of him like with this shitty mustache. And it's all from this movie. This movie apparently impacted my 12-year-old brain enough that it embedded those images of these two actors. But definitely Daniel Bargan, his performance as the cult as Nix, that's fucking terrifying.
yeah, he was creepy.
Yeah.
And his the opening scene with him is, I'd be hard pressed to say that's the creepiest part of the movie.
Yeah,
is when he's
definitely.
human and just being a skeezy cult leader.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. And I don't know if the setup of this movie was super successful. It was difficult to tell, exactly what was happening. But I mean, you get the cult aspect. You know that he's running the show. Most people are absolutely captivated by him if they're within the cult. They have some scheme to sacrifice a young girl. And I don't know if they really clearly explain it, but I think that it's intended that once the sacrifice happens, he'll be able to share the power that he has with the rest of the cult. And of course, we have incoming former cult members who feel compelled to try to stop him and rescue the young girl. I don't know if that's their only motivation. I like to project a little bit further and say that because of the power that he possesses and the ritual that he plans to undertake, and he claims to be someone who was born to kill the world, that they're on a mission to save humanity, not just one person. So, like, to me, the beginning scene was really impactful, and I really loved how they capped it off with that iron mask that they just stuck on his face, and the screws that just like automatically drilled into his head. To me, that was Clive Barker.
Oh yeah, the blood on the screws that made them
mind freak powers.
Yeah, that was Clive.
Yeah.
Which magician was the mind freak guy?
Chris Angel.
Chris Angel.
Oh,
yeah,
Chris Angel.
Huge Chris Angel vibes with Kevin J. O'Connor in this. Just
yeah.
Even the amount that he was so full of himself. Well, no, the full of himself, maybe that's more David Blaine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfect mix of kind of the two of them, I guess. You got the freaky deaky, pointy things of Chris Angel, but the mass egotism of a Chris Blaine.
And we've been throwing the word
Or
cult
sorry,
around a
David
lot.
Blaine.
Oh, that's okay.
Mhm.
There were like 6 people in that cave thing. Like, how many people does it take to qualify as a cult? 'Cause
Apparently,
his
you only
cult's
need
not that big.
What was it? You only need. He did not have them, but I think you only need 80 people before you can be recognized as an organized religion.
Okay,
Okay.
so he had like
I might be
6.
full of shit on that. I don't
All
know.
right. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. What's the definition
think-
of a cult?
I feel the definition of a cult isn't so much how many members you have; it's just how crazy y'all are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were crazy.
I think the Sawyer family could have been
yeah.
defined as a cult.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I was a little unclear on whether or not his character was actually dead. I know they shot him a bunch, but they kept focusing on the magic aspect of things, and they also focused on, phrases like "even death is an illusion," and their plan was basically to put this binding mask on him, which, in my opinion, was to like contain his power, to stifle it, so that like he couldn't bring himself back, I suppose, and then bury him so deep that no one would find him, which again also kind of indicated to me that he wasn't really dead. They were just trying to hide him and conceal his power and prevent the danger from resurfacing. So I don't know what your take on that is, but they did mention it as like a resurrection later on, like they had to bring him back to life.
but they did. The only thing they did to bring him back to life was take the mask off.
Yeah,
So
basically.
that's how I see it, as you see it. Like, it's just a containment of his powers, because that little girl put a hole in his chest the size of a soda can, and it didn't kill him. So the mask must have had
Yeah.
some powers to, like you said, just keep him quiet until it was taken off. Yeah.
Well, I think the whole point of the mask is it delivers a mortal wound, and because it's imprinted into him, he can't heal from it.
Okay.
So, and that's why I think when they remove the mask closer to the end of the movie, he just kind of comes back,
Right.
kind of like Wolverine. He's like a Wolverine.
Right.
If Wolverine had a
had
little prairie dog and
Penis.
poo coming out of the
Yeah.
top of his head.
He had Manus in his forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna make fun of
Oh
that.
yeah, no, I was watching
an
with Jen.
asshole
She
in the
looks up.
center
She's
of
like,
his
"That's a
head.
butthole." I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
Turtle
started.
head
Yeah, then
popping
it started
out.
popping,
Yeah,
and she's like,
pretty
she's
bad.
like, I can't watch this. This is fucking
Groundhogging.
disgusting.
Yeah. Or prairie dogging.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
But again, yeah, Daniel Bargan again. Like, even
he's-
when he's got a poop coming out of his head, he's probably the best thing about this movie.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
Oh, 100%.
okay, acting wise, he's the best thing about this movie.
okay. Yes,
You
you're right.
can't. I was gonna say, there's no way you're gonna tell me that Scott Bakula is.
Kevin J. O'Connor was pretty good too.
Okay, so that's fair.
Yeah.
Kevin J. O'Connor is really selling it too.
Yeah.
Scott Bakula
Mhm.
is always like looking like he's running late to some kind of appointment. That was his whole motivation for this movie. Like, fuck, I was supposed to leave 10 minutes ago to go to the dentist. And
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah. Well, I think he was on the back of Quantum Leap
Yeah.
when
He was, yeah.
did this
Yeah.
movie. So maybe he played Sam too long, and continued playing that character into this movie, because I kind of felt like it was almost the same. Like I didn't really read Private Detective
No.
out of him.
Because he's Sam Beckett. Like, that's how I will always see him.
Exactly. Yeah.
His clothes definitely look Private Detective.
Oh yeah.
Is
Yeah.
They did.
The undershirt with the shoulder holster, and yeah.
And the vest on top
Yeah.
of a long sleeve shirt, but no jacket. Is this the
Yeah.
most 1995 movie to ever 1995? Like, the
I
clothes
think
in
it
this
is,
are.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It might be. Yeah. And Clive Barker was very pleased with the choice of Scott Bakula for this role. And the way I hear it is like he did several writings about this character, this Damore character. And even after this movie was out and he continued to write about that character, he always envisioned Scott Bakula when he was writing it. Just kind
I
of cool.
envision Scott Bakkula a lot too.
I was gonna say it sounds like it sounds like Barker and Nicole's visions of Scott Bakula are kind of similar here.
Similar, yeah. Shirtless and sweaty. Yeah.
Uh-huh. He also felt very strongly about Femke Janssen.
Oh yeah.
I feel very strongly about Femke.
I do too.
Yeah. But like he was struck by her visually. Like he didn't even have to see an audition. Like they went through hundreds of photographs. He found hers and picked it out and was like, "That's her."
Yep.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool. So like, even though they auditioned plenty of people for that role, like he would not stray from, no, we need that one.
Yep. That's how I feel about her too. Yeah.
And
I need that one.
Yeah, honestly, she was a really good pick.
She always is.
Yeah,
but she is like in all seriousness, she is bringing it to. I was surprised because I mentioned when you picked this, I recently just rewatched it. That was my first watch of it since I had seen this back in 1995. I didn't even remember that Femke Janssen was in this.
I didn't either. Her name came up in the opening credits, and I'm like, "Fuck, she's in this." I didn't. Yeah, completely forgot.
Yeah,
because I always think of her as which X-Men is she? Jean Grey. But she had a bit in the mid 90s. Like she was in that movie with Treat Williams, Deep Rising. And she was the lady with the killer thighs in Goldeneye.
She was in House on Haunted.
Wasn't Kev?
Go ahead.
Wasn't Kevin O'Connor also in Deep Rising?
Was he?
Yes. Actually, yeah, he was.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fuck. We should do Deep Rising sometime, man. That movie's a hoot.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, I got to say, like, it was a surprise. And with what you were saying before, Clint, with Clive Barker only directing 3 movies, like him or not, like his movies or not, because I stated I'm not a huge fan of Nightbreed, but I can appreciate what went into Nightbreed. There is no movie that looks like Nightbreed. And there is this movie, even though there's a lot of cliches in it, it's very similar. There's not any, when I was watching this, I'm like, I can't really compare this to another movie.
That's true.
And then you got Hellraiser, which nobody can fucking compare Hellraiser to anything. I kind of wish we had gotten more Clive Barker movies. Because these are all very different from each other. Hellraiser, Nightbreed, Lord of Illusions. They don't feel similar to each other. They all feel like Clive Barker was trying something different. And it's unfortunate that Hollywood shot on him, because I think we could have gotten some wild flicks, especially nowadays with direct to streaming, and like stream sites don't give a fuck. They'll release an unrated cut of a movie. They'll let you do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. And that would have been a good world for him to live in. I think the reason why he strayed away from Hollywood is because the studio just wouldn't stay the fuck out of his film. Like this is a prime example of that. The reason I believe that this was his last movie that he directed is because they absolutely would not let him have control over hardly anything. Like you see little bits and pieces, of him injecting his vision into this movie, but the rest of it looks Hollywood. And that's why you guys are saying, very little of this actually screamed Clive Barker to you. It's because it looked too clean. It was too polished. He likes to make dirty, filthy, disgusting things. And, like sadomasochistic crap, and just twist something normal into something that's very nightmarish and awful. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't get a real chance to explore that in this movie. You just had little tastes of it here and there, where he tried to put his little vision.
Like that banal, the anus. I was just gonna say that's what I was saying too, Nicole, the anus.
That was
That
all
whole
Clive
finale
Barker.
is Clive
That's right.
Barker, like
Yeah.
getting the cult members getting pulled into the dirt and just having
That was
bits and
great.
pieces of their body parts left out.
Mhm.
Dude walking around with a literal piece of shit coming out of the top of his head, like that is Clive Barker. Kevin O'Connor getting his face peeled off until there's nothing left but a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about him too much, other than the fact that we all seem to agree he's very much, if David Blaine and Chris Angel had a baby, it would be his character in this movie.
Right.
Kevin O'Connor is always a weird one to me. Like, how is it that simultaneously he plays the same character in every movie, but he always feels unique?
Yeah. I don't know.
He brings. I'm sorry. Glenn, go ahead. I thought you were.
No,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. He brings a piece of himself to every character. I think he's one of those like character actors that is just he can do, like you said, the creepy thing like this one, and he can do the funny thing like in The Mummy, and the arrogant schmuck like in the zombie airplane movie.
Zombies on a Plane.
Zombies on a Plane. Thank you. So I think he's underrated. I really do. I think he can play any kind of character and do it well. But he always, I think it's his physical characteristics. He just has such a unique look about him.
Yeah, he is unusual.
He always plays somebody who's a little pathetic, a little too full of themselves, and a little sleazy. Like I just described, he's a little pathetic, a little full of himself, and a little sleazy.
Yeah.
What Kevin O'Connor movie did I just describe?
The Mummy, Zombies on a Plane.
Yeah, exactly. Like he can't. But he's absolutely charming, and it's no different than this one. Like this one, I'd say he leaned into the sleazy just a bit too much. He felt pretty dirty in this one. Like there was even some stranger danger stuff because Famke Janssen is that 12-year-old girl from the beginning of the movie.
That went through my mind too when I found out that she was the little girl. I'm like, he knew her since she was 12. What the hell?
She kept saying, "I didn't marry for love," and I'm like, "Girl, blink twice. Blink twice if you need to be removed from this mansion."
Yeah. I think the way his character was written was very disappointing in this, or who knows, maybe the 12 minutes that got edited out of this, at the direction of the studio took something away from his character. He seemed to be very driven in the beginning of the movie, and he just became fainter of heart as we went. You know what I mean? Whereas by the end of the movie, like he was just about like a blubbering pile of, flesh and bones. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have any like forcefulness behind him. He didn't have any like gumption or confidence, to face, Nix at the end of the movie. He was very much reactive and timid, cowardly. I didn't like the way his character was portrayed at the end of the movie. There needed to be some type of like face off where like you really saw like his inner strength come out, and I felt myself being very disappointed that we didn't get that. They focused a bit too much on Scott Bakula and Famke Janssen.
Yeah,
well,
because
they did have sex the day after he died, so
Jesus Christ, poor fucking
what the fuck was
the
that?
hell?
Well, she didn't marry for love. She said that, but Jesus Christ, he's not even cold yet.
For sure.
His quote unquote body is in your foyer, like
and you're fucking some detective upstairs. Yeah. Okay.
But you're absolutely right, Clint. I do feel for such a prominent character in like the first half of this movie, even after he fakes his death, it's revealed that he's still alive very quickly. But he still feels like he just kind of gets shoehorned off to the side, to the point where in the finale he's barely in it. Other if you count the fact that his practically lifeless corpse is lying on the ground for most of it. And I just want to ask, that whole thing, So Kevin O'Connor gets like his final moment where Scott Bakula is like, and this is like his Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi moment. He's like, can you raise me up like you did the car?
Mm-hmm.
And then Scott Bakula slowly floats towards Nix and sticks his hands in his face goop and kind of pushes him into the forever pit of despair. Why did Scott Bakula need to float to do that?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I thought the same damn thing.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
like,
no reason he couldn't have gotten up and run.
he's like, this will be really cool. Just lift me up
It
real
looks
quick.
so badass. Because, like, seriously, just run to the guy and shoulder check him in. He was right at the edge.
Yeah, maybe he sprained his ankle or something. I don't know. He
maybe it just looks so stupid.
He's like, I'm feeling woozy from him. His fingers inside my skull.
I can't see
don't
straight.
know.
Better view from up here.
Yeah. Everybody looks like the Blob from the 1989 remake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I do want to throw out one other thing. I really wish that I could see or would have seen the director's cut of this film. I have only ever seen the theatrical cut of this, and like, I'm not kidding when I say that they cut 12 minutes out of this movie, but it is a very important 12 minutes. Like, a lot of it is character exposition and development. Like, I don't know if you noticed, I hate the scene. I hate it. Like, they go back, dig up the body, take him inside to basically resurrect him, and out of fucking nowhere, there's just cult members there. It's like, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, what, did they never leave? You know what I mean? They've been there like 13 years now, and it's like, oh, we're back. Oh, hey, welcome back, guys. You know, like a stupid birthday party. You know, but apparently there was exposition of that. Like, they showed these people in their homes where they, like, in preparation for going back to the cult, like, they murdered their families and they left. You know what I mean? Things like that. And they end up there. But instead, we just get this cut to, you know, these people who look like they're in like a self haircutting cult, who like to make themselves bleed and then break bottles on the ground and like stick their knees in it. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I'm looking at right now. I'm looking.
What?
There is an unrated cut of this movie. I've seen it. I saw it when I was a kid.
Have you?
Because I got all excited when I realized it was Famke Janssen in this movie, and I'm like, "Oh, I remember the sex scene from this movie. It's fucking bonkers." But then it wasn't in it, and I'm like, "Am I remembering something?" No. It turns out when this movie was released on VHS in Canada, it was the unrated director's cut, and that's what I saw when I was a kid. Because I'm looking at pictures right now, and Famke Janssen is getting a good solid dicking. And that was not in the movie we watched.
No, it wasn't.
We didn't. The shoulder of her dress came down. That was all we saw.
No, like, we are talking like wowzers. Like, holy crap. I knew it. I thought I was insane. Nope. I have seen it.
You can thank Clive Barker's negotiation skills for the fact that you even saw it, because he argued with the studio over cutting all of that stuff out, and he said, okay, I'll do it, but you have to allow me to release a director's cut. So he negotiated for the right to do that.
She's lying down on his
So the
dick.
fact that that even exists.
She is resting her head on his dick. I'm looking at a picture of it.
You got to send that to the group chat. I guess.
Saving image right now.
So, and I think that it may be difficult, well, not difficult to get a copy, but perhaps expensive to get a copy of the director's cut, say like on Blu-ray. I didn't look it up, but I've just heard that.
Yeah, it's going for like $60.
Yeah,
that's the collector's edition, which has the director's cut. The theatrical is going for like 20.
Yeah,
still 60 is not.
It's a bit much.
It's a lot for a movie.
It's a bit much to see what I just saw in picture form.
Yeah. Right. And I know that Clive Barker was excited to be able to use CG in this movie. This is probably the most 90s CG that I've ever seen in my life. It's something that I don't want to pick on it, but I feel like I have to, because it just didn't work for me. We got this weird fiery image, on screen of Nyx, I suppose, like running through the house, like terrorizing him. Scott Bakula shooting at it for some fucking
Why
reason.
did he shoot at
like
the
that was going
fire?
to do anything?
Oh, that pissed me.
Yeah, he loves to
He
shoot
does.
things. He did that all throughout the movie. And then suddenly, the entity turned into some weird folding flesh origami thing and like floated off the screen.
That
I
was
don't know
some
what the hell that
Lawnmower
was.
Man level of CGI. Like that was
That was
bad.
late 80s video game type. That's immediately what I thought of, like a late 80s video game.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. Like
No.
that was
Yeah.
Star Fox.
Yeah.
Kept expecting the monster to say, "Do a barrel roll." Anybody who plays Star Fox is gonna find that fucking hilarious. I'm just saying.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and it's too bad. I didn't realize because you were mentioning studio interference, Clint. I thought for sure you were going to tell me that the studio insisted that Clive Barker use CGI because it was all the rage. To find out that it was
Right.
Barker who was excited to do this, it's a bit of a bummer for me.
Yeah, he wanted to do a combination of things. He did like his practical effects, but like there were certain things that he couldn't accomplish that was in his head, with practical effects, which is why I believe he was excited to use the CG, because there is certain things that couldn't be done. What we saw, as horrible as it looked, you couldn't really do that with practical effects unless you spent a really long time, doing like stop motion or something and have somebody actually folding paper.
But, I mean, the scene is so
don't know.
unnecessary. We don't need to see the origami. I don't even know what it was supposed to be.
I don't know either. It didn't need to be there. If they were going to cut 12 minutes, they could have cut a couple right there and left some of the other
give us
shit
the
in.
Funka Jensen sex scene. Get rid of whatever this was.
Yeah. And what we got in the theatrical cut was very limited. It's like there was a little kissing. I see a shirtless thing, and then suddenly he's like getting up out of the bed.
Yeah.
to go
I
do
was so
something.
confused because I swore as a kid I saw like a full blown sex scene, and sure enough, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I really want to talk about this movie is the. I don't know if you guys have anything else or not, but I am always a big advocate for the music is part of the movie. The music is a character in the movie in itself almost. I can't remember a damn musical sting from this movie at all.
As soon as you said that, my brain just went, I don't
Yeah.
remember any music.
And that's unfortunate because when you look at Hellraiser, like the music in Hellraiser is very memorable.
Mm-hmm.
You got the choir stings, you've got like the loud bass. All I can remember is like, what's that song that's playing when he goes to that magic village? It's like some random, it's almost like Mr. Sandman, but it's something about magic. And that's the only thing that stuck on my head because I'm like, wow, this is really inappropriate for this kind of movie. But then when he gets into the place, it turns out it's playing on the speakers and because it's like an attraction.
Okay.
Wasn't there some chanting in this?
See, that's what I mean. Like,
because
Clint.
I remember hearing I remember watching it and hearing what was going on the TV, and in my head I was going, God is in his holy temple, earthly silent now. That's what it reminded me of from Poltergeist 2.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there was. And most of the notable music I think you find in your opening and your closing credits. But I mean, Simon Boswell did this. And he's done several soundtracks that were very notable. I think he did like Phenomenon. He did Hardware. I think he did
Oh,
no.
okay.
No. I'm talking like
Okay.
Argento. Phenomena.
And it'll be in my head for the rest of the night.
You said he just did Death
Yeah.
Machine?
Hardware. If you remember that 90s.
Yeah, that was a
cyborg
weird one
movie.
too. And again, a movie I can't really remember any
It
of the
is a
music
weird
from.
one.
Maybe I just don't like this guy.
Yeah. Maybe you don't. But just go like watch the opening credits to this movie again and just listen to the music and be like, oh yeah. I've heard this guy's stuff before.
Well,
You know.
I might have to go do that because right now in my head, this movie doesn't have a soundtrack because I literally can't remember anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're thinking of the Muppets, and that's it right now.
Phenomena. I don't got anything else. Do you guys want to bring up another?
I don't. I think I've said the good things that I have to say about it. I've dumped on it as much as I'm going to dump on it.
I'm not a huge Clive Barker fan. I'm not a fan of Hellraiser. I'm not shitting on him in any way. It's just not my kind of stuff. But if there's one thing that I don't think anybody can deny is his imagination. Clive Barker has an incredible fucking imagination. And you could see bits and pieces of him in this movie. You could. Yeah.
For sure.
It's kind of like, and I hate to bring up this comparison because I know Nicole's going to hate it, but it's kind of like Fincher with Alien 3. The studio shat on Alien 3 so hard and they took such complete control of the movie to the point where Fincher told him to fuck off and he walked off and didn't even bother to have final cut. But even when you watch that theatrical cut of Alien 3, you can still see those moments of Fincher sneaking through. Like, even though they tried to change everything he did, you can't hide Fincher's involvement in a movie, just like with this. Because I was surprised to hear that with what you told me, Clint, that the studio meddled so much because there were such glaring Barker moments in this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't cover it up. I mean, when you get a filmmaker who has such a unique style like that, it's like it's going to come through no matter how much they try to stifle it or cut it out or stop it from happening. You know what I mean? It's just like they can't help themselves. It's kind of like a signature. You know what I mean? Nobody writes the same. You know, you could, smack me in the knuckles every time I write something incorrectly, but you're still going to see it. You know what I mean? It's like my style's going to come out.
Back some other memories now.
Oh my!
I used to write. I'm double jointed. I used to
apologies.
write funny, so they weren't thrilled with that. The teachers.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess jump into ratings.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
think so.
let's jump into the ratings for this. Let's put a number on it. Clint, your pick. You get to go first.
Yeah. Honestly, this is another case of my memory was better than my rewatch. I liked this way better the first time I saw it. Watching it again, I really nitpicked it a lot. There were some things that I found just disappointing that I didn't find disappointing before. I found the story a little difficult to follow. Like, even though he did legit detective work and he followed clues, it got slow and boring in the middle. Like, I didn't like watching his detectiving. So like they could have sped that up a little bit and maybe left something else in that they cut out. I was really disappointed in the edit of this. Like I said, I didn't like that one transition where we just hop to the end of the movie and we've got cult members suddenly that we hadn't seen since the beginning of the film. And no explanation of how or why they were there. So it did have some good marks, but I left a lot of them off. In the end, I gave this a 17 out of 30, which is only a 56% or 5.6 out of 10.
5.6 out of 10 for Clint. Nicole?
I like Clint, my rewatch, because I had not seen this since it first came out, and it was nothing like I had remembered. It, as Ryan says, this did not pass the phone test. 15, 20 minutes in, I found myself looking at my phone, and not really paying attention to what was going on. Uh, this was not my type of movie at all. If you're looking for a good, popcorn horror movie, this is not it. This I found it boring most of all. Um, the cast was great. I did enjoy all of the actors in this cast, which is probably the only reason I'm going to give it any kind of rating. It was hard to follow. It was practical effects were good. Cast was good. I'm going to give this a 3.0.
3.0 from Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a poet, and it didn't even occur to me. So I'm actually, I'm surprised about this. I had more fun watching this than you guys did. Maybe I'm just a sucker for an artist who's visibly hurt by the studio system, but I found myself enjoying this movie. Yes, it has its flaws, and they're glaring. As Clint mentioned, we get to the third act without any lead up at all. We're in the third act. Bakula does what Bakula do.
Yes, he does.
I thought Famke Jensen was really good in this, though. I thought the acting was solid. I was interested in the story, and I was interested in the choices that Barker made. So, like, clearly we have the poop head. I don't. But I mean, just the mask and the whole. We didn't talk about this much, but the whole the League of Magicians and how they were all jealous of what's his name? I've already forgotten his name. Benny from the Mummy.
Kevin J. O'Connor.
Kevin O'Connor. How they were all jealous of Kevin O'Connor, and how some of the magicians were willing to help out because they felt there was more to this than what meets the eye. I kind of was going with the detective story in this. Like I said, it does have its issues, but I felt the ride as a whole, the fun outweighed the bad. I'm gonna give this a 6.5 out of 10. I had a good time with it.
Okay,
but I've seen it twice now in 2 weeks, so I probably won't be in a hurry to watch it again unless I track down that Famke Jensen cut.
And then you're just that scene,
just that part over and over. Like, how the frick do you burn out one segment of a Blu-ray?
Oh my god! How do you cut that scene?
All right, so let's quickly jump into that other Rotten Tomatoes game. So many podcasts out there play a Rotten Tomatoes game. We do that too, and we're not hiding it. We're just stealing the same fucking game that everybody else does. Clint, this was your pick. You get to go first. There are 26 critic reviews for Lord of Illusions. What percentage of them thought the movie was worth a damn?
Critics. Okay. Gonna go with 40%
from Clint. Nicole?
5%.
Oh, Nicole does not have a lot of hopes for this movie. Clint is going to take it. This movie has a 58%. It is still certified. It is still certified rotten, but 58% of the critics thought there was something there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I almost went right down the middle, so that would have been close.
Well, the critics felt one way. Let's see if the audience feels the same. I'm looking at the popcorn meter, which is audience reviews. There are 10,000 plus ratings. What percentage of these people thought the movie was worth a watch? Nicole, you can go first this time.
Fans, I'm going to say 54%.
54% from Nicole.
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 68.
68. Nicole, you are 1% off. It is 53%.
Wow.
So this movie, right down the middle. closer to 60 for the critics. The critics were getting a little more out of this, but yeah, the audience seems to be split down the middle about people who enjoy this movie or didn't like it. I'm hard pressed to say it's worth a watch. I mean, clearly, sorry, I'm not hard pressed to say. I'm not hard pressed to say it's worth a watch. I think it's absolutely worth a watch at least once because there's enough weirdness in there. There's enough of Clive Barker that still shines through.
Yeah. I would also say it's worth a watch once just for the cast, if anything else, you know.
Mm-hmm. But I guess, yeah, Clint's a man of the people again. Didn't you give this like a 5.7?
Yeah, 5.6.
So again, Clint is a man of the people.
Yes, he is.
Right there.
All right. Do we want to plug anything, Clint? Do you want to? I guess by the time this drops, you'll have already done your Q&A. But if you want to,
yeah, that'll be done.
Yeah, then I guess we're good. All right. Because I'm just doing the same shit.
That's right. Me too.
All right. Well, in that case, we will bid everybody adieu. And we just want everybody to remember that so many podcasts out there try to be the one and the only. Again, we know we're not that good. We just try to be the other one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.